Shivda for Mitinda. Good day or good morning. Hello and welcome again to Kroeder Kroghen. Heddiw than Pymtheg Fydd mis May. Today, the 15th, Pymtheg 15, Pymtheg Fydd 15th, mis May of May month. Now, hasn't it been a lovely week this past week as well? Definitely a summery May. It's also been a testing week, literally a testing week, for several Cornish speakers because there have been aposianzo today's in aposians, an examination, aposianzo examinations. Habrasor an Tholen heddiw, y'n kever aposianzo. But first of all, my thanks to those who wrote and telephoned during the week about last week's programme about the Australian Cornish Australians. Lots of interest generated, and in particular I'm grateful to Mr. Norris Pryor of Truro, who wrote and told me about the Kernewek festivals and its dates, and the festival that's held on alternate years by the state of Victoria, or the Cornish Association of Victoria. He explained, because I wasn't sure about the dates, if you recall, apparently the first Kernewek was as long ago as 1973, and that's held every odd year, and the Victorian festival, which is held on St. Piran's Day, is held every even year, so that's now made clear to me. Mr. Pryor has lots of good reasons for knowing all about this, because in fact his great-grandfather had two brothers, both of whom went to Australia, one in 1854 and one in 1866, so both from Wendron. And Mr. Pryor has a huge number of relations out in Australia, and in fact spent that last summer there enjoying the World Cup rugby and meeting several members of his family. Apparently the Pryor family is so big in Victoria that there is a regular get-together of all the Pryors held in Melbourne. And Mr. Norris Pryor's great-great-grandfather was apparently the Joseph Pryor who built the monument on Carnbray and City Hall and the Lander Monument, again from Wendron. And Mr. Norris Pryor's cousin Oswald Pryor is the Mr. Pryor who wrote Australia's Little Cornwall, the book all about that part of Australia. And I've got a feeling as well, having spoken to a couple of people in the Radio Cornwall office here, that he may also be related to the Terry Pryor that I know, the rugby player and teacher from Madrid. Anyway, thank you very much indeed, Mr. Pryor, for that fascinating conversation about Cornish Australians. But now on to examinations. Well, this last week has seen pupils at Poole School and at Camborne School taking the very first GCSE Cornish examinations ever to be held. And we shan't know for some time exactly what the results have been, but we certainly do wish all the best for them. As well as that, the Cornish Language Board has been conducting its examinations, and over the years, the Language Board, I think quite rightly, has placed more and more emphasis on the spoken language, so that the aposians der anno, the oral examination, literally examination by mouth, sounds a bit like going to the dentist, doesn't it? The aposians der anno is a very important part of the examination. Well, I went along to see how the candidates would fare and spoke to three second-grade candidates, David Manta and Andy and Joan Tonkin, and started by asking them the most obvious question of all. Was it difficult?
Not too bad. It's quite fun, really, once you got into it.
Not bad as we thought.
And how long have you been studying Cornish then?
2 years now.
David, are you a second grade as well?
Yes, I've been studying Cornish about 2 years also.
Yeah. Have you done your oral exam yet?
Yes, just finished it with Joan and Andy.
Yeah. Do you think you've passed?
What
is the so? I hope so. No answer. True. Okay. Well, we are Kozel Kernewek Privries, yeah. Kozel in Trevin, in Cameron Gura and Cameron Trowell and this.
Oh, yeah.
Why did you actually start to learn Cornish in the first place? Because you're Cornish.
We are.
Which is as good a reason as any.
Absolutely. Like Goners in Pengagan, me Goners in Alagun, and so me a dip lay Alagun, Pengagan, the Crow Camborne, Wainsbury, we against Colonel, against Layarl.
That's right. The Cornish places. You come from Illogan, you come from Pengagan, that's where you come from, so you feel that the language belongs to the place. Yeah, and you appear there. How would you see the Cornish language developing from now on? How would you like to see it being used more widely?
Slowly, perhaps. I think more should be done in schools.
Yeah.
Slowly, but
Well, of course, there are some things happening in
Yes,
school
well,
now, but it does take time, doesn't
and
it? Melinda?
my wife does teaching school at the moment at Rescue with children, and Kernewek.
Tam, little by little.
Yeah, and it's the best way.
Yeah.
Because I think as they get older, they motivate themselves. I don't think you can learn a language by using somebody else's motivation. You've got to do it yourself.
Yeah.
And you've got to get people feeling they are Cornish again.
Yeah.
They've lost that, and they want to get it back again, and perhaps slowly it'll come.
Yeah. A lot of Cornish-born people feel the opposite way. I mean, I've experienced this myself, interviewing them. They don't think much of the Cornish language, and there's sometimes actually again it, I think. I mean, I get the feeling that there's a bit of anti-feeling there. Perhaps I'm wrong.
I think it would be better if the parents were interested. It's nice to learn Cornish in a family. If you can get children interested, if they could get their parents interested, it's much better.
Yeah.
You know, the children are more encouraged if the parents take an interest.
Yeah.
I think really, looking at my own experience, at school you learn English. If you disregard the language from it in history, your proudness of your Cornishness was taken out by the English. I mean, from this century alone, I mean, nobody's been made to feel Cornish in Cornwall. You've been made to feel English. And it's going to be a slow process to get people back feeling Cornish again. And if they can, when they hear a song like Trelawney, then you begin to feel Cornish again. And it's that sort of Cornishness that got to be found again, because it's gone. And it's going to be got to be very slowly brought back.
Yeah.
Because if it's brought back quickly, it'll just go again quickly. I think it's a process that got to be undertaken.
Okay, and taking your second grade oral examinations is part of that process.
The winner.
Yeah, well, mere way to so win, rag we are. So win. And that was Davis Matter and Andy and Joan Tonkin, second grade students at the oral examinations in Cornish. Well, by the time you get to the fourth grade, which is the top grade, the examinations become quite complicated. The oral test includes reading, comprehension, general conversation, and also conversation on specialist topics, and these can be quite arcane and erudite, including things like international relations, politics, the arts, in fact anything that might come up in a complicated conversation. The conversation you're going to hear from fourth grade candidates is actually about whether the Bible should be translated into Cornish. Maar vi tibians da Trelia and Bible the Kernewek. And you'll hear certain phrases repeated during the conversation, like, for example, an Bible sans. The Holy Bible. Sans means holy. Crops up in quite a few place names. Trelia and Bible, to turn, literally, to translate the Bible. And somebody says that would be ober bras. Ober means a work or a job. Ober bras, a big job, and it would be a big job. It is a big job to translate the whole Bible. You'll hear that there's general agreement that it would certainly be arweth da. Arweth, a sign or a symbol. So arweth da, it would be a great symbol for the Cornish language to have the Bible translated in Cornish. But several of the speakers question, would anybody actually read it? How many people read the Bible in English all the way through, for that matter? And you'll hear the various languages referred to in Cornish. The Cornish for Cornish, as you already know, is Kernewek, I expect. You'll hear Sosnek, which is a bit like the Scottish Sassenach. It means English or Saxon. You'll hear Latinek, which is fairly obviously Latin. And later on you'll hear Grek as well, which means Greek. And one of the speakers talks about being den Krijek, a believing man. Kriji means to believe. And he talks about Krijians, belief, and also mentions an eglos, the church. And again, eglos appears in quite a few place names. So it's a fairly familiar word. So that's the gist of the conversation. They're talking about whether it would make sense to translate the Bible into Cornish or not.
Pan didn't face muren over wheel hemmen tussen.
Beth yw'r dibyn dan?
Wel, mae rhaid y byderi, na'n ti tynnu hir. It's just in that Celtic crossbon yn mir, pan yw Bibl Trelius Saesneg, a bydd Latinic. A was those Kernewek uses gan, so hen yw celch yn tîn, the celch yn Bibl yn Kernewek, wysiwr. A can bit of rest yn hen yn Kernewek.
A dal yn over bras a hir, a cyn dress yn nid oes bochys ag yn nifer, gan i fe dan ni the pedic and nep ken over in lime martes and la furia dres bledinio martes and Australian people ag a levera lemon pu levera nagis miridis ag a raid and people stands in Sausneck in Kernewek again I part of these gans the people trays in Kernewek always there mes pure and raid
Wel, mae'n net atharol yn wed. Ninja fi yn gwylio honest da'n pure Crisiau. Ninja fi hep Crisians, mas ninja fi reconcilable ninja fi Martes and Christian, ninja fi mwy Christian is Buddhist po nepes arol. Mi agrees leis tra, mas ninja fi ran nep eglos. Mas mi already have like term in here, dalio ganef. And the conversation then goes on to a slightly different tack, which is to talk about the literary quality of the Bible and how important it would be to translate it into Cornish, simply to establish an important literary work of art, if for no other reason. And the phrase that's used there is to say, an yeith yda, they're talking about the Welsh Bible, and Bibl Cembrec, and yeith yda, the language is good, and gerio you pur dda, the words are very good. And somebody talks about Antrelians the Gembrec, Cembrec, Welsh, the translation into Welsh.
And something liver like Isaac of Baguette for the Netties Neponus and
Listen, Jason, you die in Welsh, then you in dra, and yes, you peer.
Hungarian, you peer.
Yeah, but then you Sausneck, and new matter peace. My dake in Kernewek,
queer, made in trillions the Gembrec, or hon and Spy, no Ken Saesneg, queer honest. Well, put down Omer, the Gwelles and Stampis and Post, in Pleasant Nine, Kever and Killian.
The people Cembrec, or Killians, Divorce, Maze and Greek.
Queer.
Ninju Latin.
Yeah, queer. And Tavis. Australians, Gembrec, and Tavis and Yason, use Slan. In Delma, Navia Collateral, like Merrick Regia Lees a while in Kernewek. And away they went for several extended minutes, I can tell you. And obviously, at that stage, by the time you're getting to fourth grade examination, you have to be able to hold a pretty free-flowing conversation on just about any topic under the sun. And that's how it should be. Well, we don't yet know the results for those candidates, nor for the GCSE candidates from Poole and Camborne, who took their exams this last week. But the only thing that I can say to them all, of course, is Chant da, good luck. And to those of you who are about to take your Cornish Language Board examinations, Chant da the hui in West. Good luck to you. A hen you all ragan seithan na, mi aragas gwellas nessa seithan, bis enna, mi alevadu in withata, muras ogos lois orthif, ha, do you get a hui? God be with you. Do you get a hui?